So it says, now beautiful and good things which political science examines differ and vary so much as to seem to rest on convention only, not on nature. Huh.
I mean, how do you like? Does it make sense to you, or like if you had to make sense of that without me interfering, what would you say?
I would say more likely what I would get is that like the stuff that the political science and politics influences,
Mhm.
like and they change and like and they're so like changeable. I don't know if the word is correct, but like they change a lot and they're dependent on some conventional. That's not something that is natural,
Mm.
but it's something that is just accepted or more agreed.
Mm.
That's
Hmm.
what I would understand probably.
That's what, yeah, by convention, you, what if I mean, what if just, just for fun,
Hmm.
what if we, instead of using the word convention, what if we use the word culture?
Hmm. Uh, seem to rest on culture only. So it depends on only the culture, like
Well,
the stuff.
yeah, I mean, the way we think about culture today, it's like, I mean,
If
you've
yeah,
described it many times, the difference between like where you're originally from versus the like, I mean, where you're from locally in Kyrgyzstan versus say Bishkek. There's, there are some differences, right?
yeah,
So now, if you widen the scope and you compare it to, I don't know, where were you in? You were in Michigan, right, in the U.S.
yep, yep.
So would you say there are cultural differences?
Inside of Michigan, in Michigan, you mean?
I mean,
Or
between. Did you grow up? Where did you grow up in
in
Kyrgyzstan?
Kyrgyzstan actually, the whole life.
No, I know, but where? Where in Kyrgyzstan?
In Osh, in the southern part of
In Osh,
Kyrgyzstan.
right.
Yep.
So Osh and Bishkek are like the two. Those are the two most, at least in my experience, those are the two kind of like most prominent. I don't know, cities. I don't know. Do people even think of Osh as a city or more as like the biggest village?
Actually, people call it the biggest village.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, it's interesting, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's like, no, Osh isn't a city, it's just the biggest village of all the villages. But there are many other villages besides Osh, right?
Yep.
But Bishkek, that's the city.
All right.
Right. So so what I mean is that between Osh and Bishkek, there are, would you call them cultural differences, or how would you describe the difference?
Hmm. It's a hard question because, but like ethnically, we belong to the same culture, but it's more like um, I forgot the word, being. Yeah, it's the Russian bытовой. It's, let me translate it fastly. But it's just like, oh no, it's not correct doing correctly. But like the difference is more like, yeah, I would more likely call it cultural, even somehow. The perception of like we can say it cultural.
Well, okay. Um, but it's still not exact. is it?
No, it's not.
Why? Because people from Osh and people from Bishkek are still people from Kyrgyzstan.
Yep.
And when we talk about culture, we say Kyrgyz culture.
Mm-hmm.
We don't say Osh culture or Bishkek culture too
Nope.
often. I mean, we could, and we would probably understand each other, but it would, it would feel a little bit weird, right?
Exactly.
Exactly, you say.
Yep, yep, yep.
I don't need to remind you to read the first sentence, do I?
No, no, no.
Starting to get the drift. So,
Yep.
so now, but then compare Osh to Michigan.
Oh boy.
Sure. So, what's fine and good, fine or beautiful and good in Michigan compared to Osh, are they exactly the same?
Nope. Nope, not at all.
Can you point out some differences? I'm just curious.
Yeah, sure. Climate. Climate is different.
Okay.
People.
No, I
And
okay, but well, okay, the obviously the weather is different, but I mean
language.
language, yeah. But in terms of
The-
people's values,
Oh yeah. It's whole totally different.
like what? Give me an
Religion.
example.
First would be the religion. Second would be the
Yeah, but
like
yeah, Michigan is one of the most uh, popular destinations for Muslim Americans.
yep, exactly. I
It's
saw
one of the
many
most,
Albanian.
it has one of the highest, as far as I know, in the country, it has one of the highest populations of Muslims.
Exactly. Exactly. The worst.
Yeah. Okay, but so why, how are the values different between Osh and where were you in Michigan exactly?
Oh, I was in Grand Rapids, Kentwood.
Grand
It's
Rapids.
like,
Yep, I
yep.
know it is. Okay, so
Ah.
so in terms of values,
Hmm.
you, what's the difference?
Hmm.
Because you said religion. Okay, yeah, not everybody's Muslim in Michigan.
All right.
Fine, but there's still a lot of Muslims in Michigan.
True.
So that doesn't quite describe the differences. That's like that maybe that describes um uh there's a certain kind of population of people in Michigan who have a certain set of values, but there's another group of people in the same place, Grand Rapids, Michigan, which they have a slightly different set of values, right?
Yeah.
So how would you explain the difference between those sets of values? You don't have to go into a lot of detail, but just briefly.
They just grew up in it, or maybe just arrived there. But yeah, it's interesting.
So now, if we think of political as not politics per se, but just community
City.
community values, and you said people have the values that they have based on how they grew up.
Uh-huh. Where they grew up as well, but
Yeah.
that doesn't apply. Yep.
Now, does this word make a little more sense?
Mm-hmm. Prevention. Huh. It does. Now find this. Which political science exam? On, not on nature. Makes sense more now, actually.
Yeah, I mean, so it's interesting, well, shoot, because like if you think about it, like what it's sort of like what kind of science or knowledge or method, if we use Irwin's term, like what what is it that we're looking at when we're looking at politics, right?
Polis, right?
Yeah, we're looking at the community, the culture. We're not. It's not politics like, you know.
Republicans, Democrats, or
Right.
anything. Yeah.
Exactly. So so if things if see in geometry, a triangle is a triangle is a triangle.
Mm-hmm.
A triangle in Osh is the same as a triangle in Michigan.
Right.
So that means that we have to apply a different kind of knowledge, I think, to understand the object or the subject matter, right? I cannot
Mm-hmm.
I cannot understand Osh in the same way or or that I would understand a triangle. Like,
Yep.
but maybe there's a kind of method that I can use to understand Osh that I can use to understand Michigan, which will allow, but that allows for the non-exact differences between the two. In other words, they vary from one place to another,
Mm-hmm.
from one set of conventions to another. So I might, well, you tell me, how does that, what I just said, does that make sense?
It does.
Uh,
It's like even like the tool that we use
yeah.
to understand. It's interesting.
Well, it happens a lot. Here's a little thing that you'll see a lot in ancient Greek um, uh, things is ancient Greek philosophy and science is they it comes for hundreds of years, like from
Mm-hmm.
Plato through Aristotle through their students and people who talk about them, like the Stoics and so on. They're they're and it happens even today. We just say it maybe a little bit differently, but the Greeks um, were concerned a lot about what kinds of things am I trying to understand,
Huh.
and so there's this relationship that they were trying to, and and then the second question is, okay, based on those types of things, what kind of understanding do I need to employ or use to understand?
Uh-huh.
So the object, so there's this idea of like the the category of knowledge and the object of that knowledge. So triangles and cultures are not the same kinds of objects or subjects of study.
Mm-hmm.
Therefore, they must require, or maybe they require, a different kind of understanding, a different science.
Hmm.
And it's an interesting insight because we kind of think of it that way today, but we kind of don't.
Mhm.
Um, but anyway, okay. Let's. How much time you got left? You think?
Uh, like 5 minutes, I
Yeah.
guess.
Okay. All right. Well, let's see if we can. 5 minutes. All right. Let's see. Let's see what he says here. Let's see if we can get to the next paragraph.
Uh-huh. Okay. But this is not a good reason
Notice the
since,
brackets, right?
yeah, that was him adding, but goods also vary in the same way because they result in harm to many people. For some, have been destroyed because of their wealth, others because of their bravery.
Okay.
Huh.
So I think we can kind of brush through this quickly. Like what's good for one person at one time might hurt other people at the same time because
Right.
right there are all kinds of expressions in every language I've ever heard about like one man's garbage is another man's riches and or stuff like that, right?
Mhm.
All right, so then section 4, let's see.
It says, and so, since this is our subject and these are our premises, we shall be satisfied to indicate the truth roughly and in outline. Since our subject and our premises are things that hold good usually, but not universally, we shall be satisfied to draw conclusions of the same sort.
Now,
What?
you're confused about that?
A bit. Let me read it again.
Okay,
A
read it
bit.
again. Yeah.
Let me Google actually what the word premise means first. Quickly.
Oh no, don't go. Oh no, don't Google it.
I'm not. I'm not. Okay.
I mean, you can. Yeah, I'm sorry. No, you should look it up. But if we only got 5 minutes, you can Google it later. A
All right.
premise is like a starting point in an argument.
Starting point. Okay. And
So,
so,
in other words, our premise is that the subject matter, the objects that we're studying when we deal with politics,
hmm
are the things that are good. But we've already established that good for some is not the same as the good for others.
right.
So, therefore, that's our premise, right? We shall be satisfied. This just is the same as saying it will be adequate back at the top
hmm
to indicate the truth roughly. What does roughly mean?
Brutally or like approximately again.
There you
Not
go.
exactly. Not exactly would be.
Exactly. Exactly, not exactly. Yes.
Roughly and in outline. Okay. Since our subject and our premises are things that hold good usually, we shall
Usually.
be usually, okay, generally, we shall be satisfied to draw conclusions of the same sort.
Yeah.
So we kind of like we can make some conclusions out of it, even like from the rough information, not
Yeah.
like exact. We can make some assumptions, I guess, again.
Right. Yeah. Usually. The, this is another one, and it's on the same. It's similar to most of all, least of all, a little bit, enough. It's that scale. He's always working on the spectrum, right? I'm not even sure that
hmm
usually is the best, but it's on. If you consider usually like um it again, compare just always compare it to the hierarchy, and at top of the hierarchy is going to be something mathematical. So a triangle doesn't have three angles usually. It always has three angles. Like
Right.
by definition. But we're dealing with something that's maybe usually good. It's not as exact. Make sense?
Yep.
All right, good. This is a big thing to figure out because we haven't even started yet, really, with ethics.
Uh-huh.
But he's setting it up. He's saying, don't expect triangles and circles and mathematics because we ain't dealing with those things. We're dealing with
Right.
politics.
Politics. Just rely on the rough, not exact facts. So
Yes. There you go. There you go. There's Aristotle. He's careful about this sort of thing.
right.
All right, hey man, good luck with your is it midterm already?
Yes, it's midterm. Yep.
Is it even midterm though?
It's
Roughly.
actually because it's roughly midterm.
Yeah. All right. Well, listen, I'm sure you'll do great. Good luck,
Thank you.
and I'll see you this weekend on Saturday.
Yep, we're reading the Woody Island, right?
Yeah,
I've read
I didn't choose it. It's not my fault. You
yeah,
guys voted on it. Don't
yeah,
blame me.
I've read too, and he has some fun humor, but fine.
But he's not a dumb dude. I mean, he's a clever guy.
Yeah,
He's
yeah, I mean,
he's entertained millions for decades, so he must be
e-
doing something.
exactly. All right, Professor. See you.
All right, thanks, Bakyuti. See you later.
Yeah, bye bye.
Bye.